Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Nicole, Russo. The DRF race of the day for Labor Day, Monday, September the 4th, is also our final Spa Baby race for the 2023 racing season. It's the Grade 1 $300,000 hopeful, 7/8 of a mile for 2-year-olds. Let's take a look at this field. You've got 11 of the best 2-year-olds in the country in this race, Nicole. Bob Baffert is sending 2 over from Del Mar to compete, including the morning line favorite, the number 7 Muth. And this is just one of the deeper hopefuls I've seen in recent years.
Absolutely. And, the Hopeful is one of my favorite races of the year. It's got such history to it. And, just the name alone sums up kind of the way we feel when we're looking at these good 2-year-olds all summer here on Spa Babies. And, of course, across the country at Del Mar's concurrent boutique meet. And really, you talk about the depth of the Hopeful, and it's been a strong race recently. 5 of the last 7 first-place finishers in the race have gone on to win at least one more Grade 1 race, with a couple of those still on the track this summer. And this race looks like it's going to live up to that billing. As you said, we've got Bob Baffert's pairing from Del Mar. We've got a couple of stakes winners from this summer at Saratoga and elsewhere, and just a really competitive group.
And not only are these horses classy, they have speed. We throw up our Timeform US pace projector. There's a chance for a pretty fast pace in here. Timeform US has the 5 Timberlake, the 7 Muth, the 11 Pirate, all vying for the early lead. That leaves the 9 Valentine Candy 4th on the projector, and that colt showed a ton of speed in his debut.
Yeah, Valentine Candy really, broke well and showed a lot of speed in that debut. So, the fact that this does not have him on that front end really says something about the pace of this race. The race certainly got more pace when Bob Baffert decided to split up his 2-year-olds, targeting some for the Grade 1 Del Mar Futurity and sending a couple out here for, kind of the corresponding race. I will note that Pirate on the outside, who's going to be looking for the front end, does have a nice long run down the backstretch in this 7 furlong tilt. So if you like Pirate, I wouldn't worry about him, getting hung wide in this sprint.
And if the pace is hot, keep an eye on the number 6, Gold Sweep. You'll notice the LP flag over his chiclet. That indicates he has the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. The 1 Just Steel goes out for Wayne Lucas. And Wayne's 2-year-olds have improved after a start or two, and Just Steel really put it all together in his 3rd lifetime race, a maiden special at Saratoga last month. He was close to a reasonable pace. He puts away the horse down towards his inside. Here comes BU, who's also in the hopeful on the outside, and it looks like BU has all the momentum, but Just Steel shows a tremendous amount of courage and determination to win.
Absolutely. And this son of Triple Crown winner Justify has really faced good company all along. He finished behind a Next Out winner while kind of getting a mulligan for his debut, was much tighter Next Out when second to hopeful entrant Pirate in a maiden here at Saratoga. As the Lucas horses often are, they often improve Next Out and then put it all together, as you said, while finishing ahead of Locked in his race on August 5th. Locked came back to win a maiden special weight on Friday at Saratoga by 7 1/4 lengths. Haven't seen a buyer yet, but he ran the mile in a very strong time. So it looks like Just Steel coming out of another key race.
The number 2 is Yo-Yo Candy, and he's used to pulling off upsets at Saratoga. Here's his win earlier in the meet in the Grade 3 Sanford. He was 46-1. He didn't run like that big price. Yo-Yo Candy set a very nice spot off of a fast pace. He attacks the horses on the lead, turning into the stretch, and he goes about his business. It's a very professional performance, and he might get a similar trip sitting off another fast pace.
He might get a similar trip, and I don't think he'll be at quite as high a price as he was in the Sanford, but I think you'll get some value on him with the other talent in this field. And again, he's another one where, I think in his race before in the Tremont, he showed that Sanford was not a fluke, because he ran a very good 3rd that day behind Gold Sweep, who he then beat in the Sanford, and Ship Cadet, who came back to win the Skidmore at this meet.
Nutella Fella is the number 3. And speaking of big prices, his new trainer, Gary Contessa, pulled off a big upset in the opening day Schuylerville at a giant price. Here's Nutella Fella making his career debut at Delaware Park, and he got a respectable 65 buyer speed figure for this race. And perhaps what's most notable is that he showed an ability to sit off horses and finish strong.
Yeah, and Nutella Fella is one of just a couple of horses in this field with only a 5.5 furlong race to his credit. And it looks like Contessa has been trying to put some bottom into him, getting ready to go 7 furlongs against tougher competition. He's got 2 5-furlong works at Saratoga, followed by a recent 7 furlong move. So Contessa clearly has that in his mind.
One of the Baffert train runners is the 4 Mission Beach, a successful debut winner at odds on at Del Mar last month. This is a son of Curlin. He showed some surprising speed in this race to stay up close to the pace, and he finishes off, to me, in the manner of a horse that's going to appreciate this extra distance and maybe more down the road.
Yeah, a beautiful blend of speed and stamina in this pedigree for this son of classic sire Curlin from the immediate family of the brilliantly fast Grade 1 winner Taurus. Going from 6 to 7 furlongs will be no issue, but even farther, very interesting note that, maybe this horse isn't necessarily going to be all the way cranked on Monday. I don't think, they're not going to come across the country for a Grade 1 race and not make an effort at winning it. But in the complete race preview for this race, which you can find at DRF.com, Bob Baffert told our colleague David Grunning he's a 2-turn horse, he's not a sprinter, and that he's using this race as a prep for the Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland next month, going 2 turns.
The number 5 is Timberlake, a son of Into Mischief, and in his second lifetime start, trainer Brad Cox showed that he is in sync with Timberlake because he put blinkers on and Timberlake said bye, bye, bye to that field.
Yeah, this son of the leading sire Into Mischief is one of only 2 in this field to have raced 7 furlongs or longer, and he did it with a good 85 buyer in impressive fashion. He's also faced some good company throughout his short career so far, finished behind 2 next out winners, including the eventual graded winner Rhyme Schemes on debut, and then in that Ellis Maiden win we just discussed, to beat a next out winner.
The number 6 is Gold Sweep, going out for trainer Steve Asmussen, and this horse earned a big 91 buyer speed figure in his second lifetime start. He looked so good winning the Tremont that day that he was odds on in the Sanford, and he had a big excuse because he completely missed the break, and the fact that he still ran on strongly for second shows that he has quality. He's going to be a much bigger price in this race, and with a more alert start is a very dangerous contender.
Absolutely. I feel like you could just draw a line through that. Just stumbled badly at the break, really lost all chance. And the fact that I think you summed it up well, the fact that he ran on as well as he did just shows his class. I feel like he's been methodically brought along and he's eligible to run back to his best here, that 91 buyer in the Tremont.
The number 7 is our morning line favorite, Muth, a good magic colt, who sold for $2 million earlier this year after breezing in 9-3. He showed high speed in his debut win at Del Mar. In this race, the best pal, he got caught up in a speed duel with a horse that ended up finishing 4th, and then his uncoupled stablemate, a pretty good horse in his own right, Prince of Monaco, ran him down. The question for Muth is, how far does he want to go? He's obviously fast.
Yeah, and certainly the good Magics have trained on to run 2 turns. A prime example, this year's Kentucky Derby winner Mage from his first crop. So I think, Muth, I think the 7 furlongs will be within his wheelhouse. As you said, second to uncoupled stablemate Prince of Monaco, who is ticketed for, Grade 1 action in California. This is a very fast horse, very well-meant horse.
The 8 is Baytown Chatterbox, upset winner of the Ellis Park Juvenile last time out at this distance. He was 60-1 that day. He took advantage of a fast pace. He won going away. He's likely to get a similar race shape this time around. It's just a much tougher field.
Well, one at this distance, as you said, and not only that, he was cutting back. He broke his maiden at a mile at Indiana before winning at 7 furlongs, where he was still a little bit green and actually survived an inquiry to keep that upset win. Being by street sense and out of a stakes winning dirt router, he definitely wants every bit of distance he can get.
Like the number 1, Just Steel, the number 9, Valentine Candy is another sharp 2-year-old by Triple Crown winner Justify. Let's watch his debut at the Spa, going 3/4 of a mile. He beat the gate. He made the lead. He went quick early, and he holds sway at the line. He took money in this race. They knew he was fast. He ran to his backing, and one of the also-rans came back to win an off-turf maiden special with a 72 buyer.
Yeah, that also ran came back to win. And I will note that a little bit, we're filming this on Saturday, and a little bit later today, you're going to see 2 others from that maiden, General Partner and Dive Bomber, both in what looks like a very good maiden special weight on Saturday afternoon at Saratoga. So let them be your guide to evaluate the form of Valentine Candy a little bit later. As you said, this is another one by Triple Crown winner Justify, who's did very well with his freshman crop last year, and his 2-year-olds are just on fire this year.
The number 10 and 11, well, they're both trained by Todd Pletcher. The 10 is BU. We saw him finish second, just beating a nose as the favorite behind Just Steel in his career debut. He's a full brother to American West, a juvenile stakes placed miler. The Dam, a juvenile grade 3 stakes winning miler. It's a really good sign, I think, that Todd's running this horse in the hopeful, despite still a maiden.
Yeah, and I think it also says something about how Todd evaluates his stablemate Locked, who finished behind him that day, how he looked at that horse and evaluating the quality of BU to move on to grade 1 action here. Because as we said, Locked came back to win very impressively, and BU just nipped by Just Steel while finishing ahead of Locked.
The number 11 is Pirate. Let's watch his career debut earlier this Saratoga meet. Pirate was 1-5. Everybody on the track knew that Pirate could run, and he lived up to expectations. A son of hot first crop sire Omaha Beach. He showed good speed from the start. We see Just Steel finishing second, trying his best, but he couldn't get to Pirate. And of course, Just Steel would come back to beat BU and Locked.
Yeah. And I think it says something about the depth of this hopeful field, because when Pirate came out and won that maiden impressively early in the Saratoga meet, it looked like he could be the favorite for the hopeful. And he's a bit further down on the morning line than you would have expected that day on July 15th. He does have a lot to prove the way this field has shaped up. His maiden came back with a 77 buyer, so he does have to take a step forward here. It was 5.5 furlongs, so he's missing a little bit of the foundation that some of these others have gotten in summer racing. He has been working well recently, including some strong 5 furlong moves for Todd Pletcher.
Javier Castellano picks up the mount on Pirate, a half-brother to Preakness winner, National Treasure. Let's take a look at our top selections for the Grade 1 hopeful. It's a sensational race this year. You're going with Just Steel. I just love the way he's progressed from start to start. Now, the inside post can be a little bit intimidating, but I think the experience he's gained from his 3 starts could help him.
Well, absolutely. That's what I thought. Usually when a race is this competitive, I would try to stay away from the inside a little bit unless I feel very strongly about the horse. But I think this horse is well seasoned enough where he's not going to be intimidated, and Joel Rosario should be able to work out a good trip, particularly if there's some speed ahead of him. He has faced very good company all along, and I like that he's got a couple of races over this track. I think that sets him apart from some of the horses shipping in, although they're very, very fast.
I'm curious to see what we get from the Baffert duo. You mentioned that Mission Beach might be using this race as a prep for something longer. He might have the most long-term potential of the duo, but Muth might be the quickest. And it was interesting watching his last work on XBTV. They gave him a target. He sat off of a horse. He willingly went by. Maybe they're going to try to just sit a little bit, considering there's some other speed in this race. It's so wide open, though. Gold Sweep is a contender. Of course, you've got the Pletcher duo. It is a fantastic race. 1-6-7-10 for Nicole, 7-1-10-6 for me, and the Grade 1 hopeful, your Monday race of the day. And thanks for watching Spa Babies.